Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Process. Today, my guest is a seven-figure digital entrepreneur, influencer, investor, press contributor, and speaker. He founded the globally recognized social media marketing company Social Revelation, which helps business and personal brands increase their digital footprint and brand awareness online. His company manages the social media and digital marketing strategy for several seven to eight-figure earners who are top performers within their industry. He has also been featured on various entrepreneurial and business podcasts. Please help me welcome Ryan White to the show. How's it going, man?
Pretty good, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Awesome. Hey, so just tell us a little bit about your story. Like, how did you get into entrepreneurship at such a young age?
Yeah, for sure. So, I come from a small town called from Lakeland, Georgia. And so it's a small town here in southern Georgia. Both my parents were educators, so I didn't have, that entrepreneurship upbringing at all. I actually went to college, man, on a baseball scholarship, and I got an accounting degree, right? And then I did two internships, very quickly found out that wasn't for me. And so I graduated timeline-wise, that was 2012. And then in 2013, I actually got back into baseball, and I was doing private instruction and coaching. I had 50 to 60 kids a week that would come in. And then something obviously happened in my life that kind of changed the paradigm and the lens that I was looking through. And obviously it was I met a girl, right? And so then naturally, as I knew, she was probably going to be the one, I started to kind of like understand that I needed to stop trading my time for money and that I needed a way to kind of get into residual and passive income. But I had absolutely no idea how I was going to go out and do that. But what I did know is that I needed to have an audience so that no matter what business venture I choose to launch, it would have a better chance of success, right? To really catapult to the top. And so, man, honestly, I was doing lessons from to 8 to 9 o'clock. And then from 10 to the early hours of the morning, man, I would just stay up and do research, trying to figure out what would work. How could I cultivate an audience? And obviously it turned out well. So I got to the point where I was growing a massive audience on Instagram specifically. A lot of people started kind of taking notice and reaching out for help. Next thing you know, man, within 90 days, I had over 100 people I was helping. And so Social Revelation Marketing was kind of born, but never really sat down and said, hey, I want to go and launch a social media marketing company. It just kind of happened through the action of me actually waking up every day and pursuing something better.
Nice. One of the bullet points that I saw when I was doing some research, it says that you scaled your seven-figure online business in 18 months from your bedroom. Is that the social revelation, or is that something else?
Yeah, that was Social Revelation Marketing. Yeah, we had some very strategic partners that kind of aided us along that journey, and then I had a big break, if you will. We were producing some viral content on Instagram, and Dwayne the Rock Johnson actually started following our brand.
Nice.
So very quickly, as you can imagine, yeah, the phone started ringing from a lot of A-list, B-list celebrities from California.
Nice. So with your research, everything that you found, like, how did you start building an audience? Like, what kind of content did you know to put out there? Not having a product, or or did you have a niche? Like, or did you just start just documenting what you're doing in your life, or how did you get that going?
Yeah, so when I first started being a baseball guy, I basically, was targeting, pages like MLB, the Bryce Harpers, the Mike Trouts of the world, and I was basically interacting in that community. So every day, I had a goal to try to interact with at least 100 to 150 people. And so naturally, when you're doing that, think of the compound effect. As I'm following these pages, liking, commenting, being genuine, right? There was obviously an interest and a curiosity factor where people were like, "Who is this Ryan guy?" And as soon as they came back to my page, because they were kind of pre-targeted, I had baseball content there for them to consume, right? Of me actually doing the instruction. So I was giving value. And so conversion rate was really, really high. And then on the marketing side of things, because I kind of built the personal brand as I was building, obviously, my business. And we were just producing stuff that was very captivating. So really like studying the Explore page, seeing what topics are trending, and then trying to recreate our own version of that.
Nice. Do you have any like tips or strategies or anything like that for when you're going to the explore page? Do you like look at what their hashtags are or anything like that? Or how do you model what's on the explore page so people can have a better chance getting on there?
Yeah, for sure. So really it comes down to, the discover page, the algorithm itself it's all based upon like getting likes, and comments, engagement, honestly, within the first 60 minutes. And so it used to be 15 minutes. They've kind of spread it out now a little bit more to where it kind of goes up to the 60-minute mark because they want more natural delivery, right? But it's really just trying to pick stuff, that obviously kind of reflects my morals. So you see a lot of trash on there. And so there's some stuff that I'm just not, although it's viral, I wouldn't choose to kind of represent my brand. So it's just really finding things, number one, that's in alignment with something you're comfortable pushing out. And then really looking at viewership, look at the retention rates, obviously how, if it's a video, how long are people actually watching it? Are they watching it through to completion? And then, again, understanding that the bigger the pages are that actually are engaging with your content, that actually helps you in the algorithm. So with our system, we've actually went and built out a network, honestly, of very, very big pages. This could be 20K up to, 2 million followers. And so we kind of cultivated this hub where everyone's kind of helping one another. And so that obviously helps us get our post ranked.
Nice. Yeah. Obviously we've heard of like, engagement pods and comment groups and
For sure.
shout out groups, giveaways, stuff like that. What do you recommend? Like, what's the best strategy, best way to go about it? Because I've seen people get like a big influx of like 10,000 followers from one of those things, but then it drops down to like 5 or even 2,000.
Yeah.
What's some things they should avoid and what's some things that are actually, more legit?
I think the biggest thing, I mean, like you said, there's so many different ways to grow. Again, the software days on Instagram specifically, those have all been eradicated. And so there's a lot of manual growth now, kind of that does the same thing software used to do, but it's done by hand. And then again, it kind of depends on what your niche is as well. So I deal with a lot of clients, that may be in the entertainment space. So you take a DJ for an example. The difference between a DJ getting $750 for a booking or $7,500 for a booking, it's all based upon his social credibility and his audience. So for someone like that who is paid based upon viewership and digital perception, right? He wants to grow as fast as possible, right? He wants to have a massive following. And so, giveaways and shout out campaigns are great for that individual, but it may not be the best option, say for a fitness coach, because again, if you're scaling quickly, but you aren't engaging with the community and building a targeted following, then your ROI probably isn't going to be as high as you want it. So really it's just identifying what's going to work best for you and then, putting an action plan to that.
Gotcha. So somebody that's using it to leverage outside deals would be a better fit than somebody that's actually trying to get like a direct response marketer that's trying to sell a product, probably wouldn't want to grow as fast. They'd want to grow more organically with people that are actually going to buy. Is that what you're saying?
For sure. And there's layers too. So we have seen conversion rates go up as you hit certain tiers. For an example, say I am a fitness coach, right? And when I go to someone's page, the content and the credibility of the back end. So let's just say, you're a fitness guy, I'm a fitness guy. We may know the same amount of stuff or the same stuff. We're teaching the same exact thing. We can get the same results. But if they go to say, your page and you have 100,000 followers and they come to mine and I have 3,000, well, we have seen obviously that does play a role in decision making, right? Because it's just perceived value. So the point is do you need to necessarily have 1 million, right? Would you want to run giveaways to 1 million followers if you're a fitness coach trying to get ROI? Not necessarily, but I do think it's important to at least establish tier 1, which I would consider is like 10,000 followers for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Then at least you can drive traffic to offers and stuff like that, with stories. So
Right.
that's usually what we push is about, minimum 10,000. But what do you think about like if you are scaling that to like 100,000, 300,000, but then your engagement is going to be obviously less because you're getting people that are coming on there just for the giveaways and stuff like that. Does that hurt your rankings as far as getting real organic people through like the explore page, stuff like that?
It definitely can for people who just kind of do one-offs. So say I go and do or a few giveaways and then I just kind of stop. But what we found is clients that come and work with us who do giveaway or shout out campaigns, again, because we have such a large engagement group as well, we're able to maintain really good engagement rates, which help keep them on the discover page so that they can continue growing organically. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
even though you're growing fast, like say through shout outs or giveaway, we never, tell people to stop manually interacting in your target community, right?
Mhm.
That's super important because one thing that I've noticed, even for pages that I run personally is of course we scale them quickly because we want that digital perception, especially being in the social media marketing space. But it's also important that we spend time every single day with our internal team to make sure we are engaging within the targeted community. So we are bringing targeted people. And then through the engagement pods and the network we've built out, we're able to maintain a certain engagement rate percentage. And for us, typically, if you're talking about influencer brand deals, 3% is kind of the industry standard that most people want to see, about 2.5 to 3%. So I try to when I'm doing my coaching stuff, I try to tell every client you want to maintain around a 2 to 3% engagement rate as you're scaling up. So yes, these people that kind of come in and they don't know that, and you see them all the time, these pages with 1 million followers and they're getting 800 likes. And it's like, yeah, they're just absolutely crushed when it comes to the algorithm.
Yeah, nice. Now, when it comes to content, I always get a lot of people asking like what kind of content to put out, because like when within their niche, like once they start like teaching and putting out like the information, there's only so much information. So once they get to a certain point, like, oh, I've already talked about that. How do they mix it up, or how do they, what kind of content do you see that people are engaging with the most? Whether it's videos, whether it's memes, or personal stories. Like what do you recommend, and how do they mix it up, and how do they get on like a schedule to keep it going long term?
That's beautiful. So structure for me is super important. So like for me personally, Instagram is actually divided into 3 tiers. So it actually gives you structure. So for me, it's family, faith, and freedom, right? So I try to use my columns based on those categories. So, I talk about business in the freedom category. I talk about my faith in the faith category, and then family, and I kind of do family and friends to kind of show my life outside of work.
Mhm.
Right. And so that kind of is something you can use to give you structure, is identify what 3 tiers represent you or your business model. And then again, understand that you can always kind of change these up, from time to time. So that's super important. And then also understanding videos will always outproduce photos. They just do. Like you said, giving value is crucial, but understand too that on average, I mean, think about the times you go to someone's profile, you never really scroll past, 15 to 20 photos.
Yeah.
You're only going to go down so far, and then you're like, oh, I kind of know what this person is about. You're either going to follow or you're not going to follow at that point within that 8 to 15 seconds. So I teach people, I coach people on, the first kind of 8 to 20 posts, and your bio and your profile picture is kind of, you need to present it as if it's your resume, right? Because that's that first impression. You have 8 to 15 seconds to kind of basically, someone's either going to decide to follow you or not follow you. And so in saying that, just always understand Instagram is different than YouTube. YouTube, it's evergreen content, right? People can go source that video, 3 years from now if you made a video and uploaded it today. On Instagram, it's not the same because people aren't constantly scrolling through to the bottom of your feed. I tell people, after about 60 posts deep, you can regurgitate and rinse and repeat, right, all the way back to the top because, again, Instagram, nobody's going to go down and see it 60 posts later and then be like, oh, you've posted that, already before. So again, if you're on a topic that doesn't have a ton of information, or you don't want to go deeper because you're trying to get someone obviously to buy into a program, just use the regurgitation, the rinse and repeat method.
Nice. So yeah, there's 3 columns, and that's one more on your personal page. Now, if they have, so you have a business page as well, and then what's the difference there if you had like one just for like your business? Are you pushing people from your personal to the business one, or how do you what's your strategy
Yeah,
for that?
for sure, man. I appreciate you for asking. And so cross promotion is a huge thing. Businesses, I usually will break it down into like, a testimonial category, maybe a service category that I'm offering, and then like a value driven. So me in front actually teaching on a given topic. And again, how you choose to use it for your business is completely up to you. It kind of depends on what you're offering to people. But testimonials, value, and then the services you actually offer is a great model that I see work across a variety of niches.
Nice. What about like the posts that you're posting on your personal one that have to do with your business? Can you put the same exact content on the business one? Does that matter, or how does that work?
So are you saying, can I take personal and put it on the business? Or are you
So,
saying, can I
so
take the,
one of the, yeah, when you're talking about the freedom category in your personal one, you're talking about your business stuff on
right,
your personal one. Can you have the same? Could you like repurpose that content on your business page? Even though
100%.
you can.
Yes,
Sweet.
100%. And I do a lot of that. I think that's why, honestly, I had, such a strong personal brand now, was because I was smart enough to understand that as my business was growing, right? Dwayne The Rock Johnson, he's following our brand for over a year. Like, we're getting that attention, and just understanding that to take that content that we're producing here and then posting it on my own, and vice versa. So it's a constant cross promotion. So for me personally, I have my personal account, right? I have my wife's account that helps cross promote. I have my business account, and then I have a Lux Revelation luxury travel page that we use to kind of travel around and lock down brand deals, which is at 2.9 million as well. So you kind of create like a web and a hub. And yeah, you can definitely use it on different channels. I think that's more than fine.
Nice. And then, do you have had any kind of like entertainment factor to yours, or more mostly education? And how they balance that? Because trying to get, you don't actually create a viral video, but you want it to go viral. So what are some chances that increase the chance of it actually having that chance of people actually sharing it? Any things that you know that you figured out to put into a video that makes it more shareable?
Yeah, the biggest thing is playing on people's emotions, right? Curiosity factors are huge. If you can play off someone being fearful of something, So like, 10 ways you're missing out on making money today, playing off on the fear, create a sense of urgency. So all of the things that that go into sales and creating funnels also works with content. And I do it a little bit different. Like on my personal channel, I try to give as much value as possible,
Mhm.
because eventually my end goal, is I do a lot of speaking engagements, and I'm creating info products through Ryan White University. And so I want to be able to sell those. So for me, giving value on my personal is a must, but on my business page, again, when you go to Social Revelation Marketing and you see the bio and we have a website, if the click through rate there obviously is good, people are going to know what kind of services we're offering. So I really want more retention when it comes to my business page. And so before, I used to post a lot of viral stuff, and we would repurpose it. So like if there was something that was happening in the entertainment space, right? Say maybe there's a lot of buzz around a TMZ video or something, or something that came out. We would try to obviously put our own spin on that and create content around that hype. And it's basically like we're hacking that story,
Right.
right? But now we've kind of transitioned to, because we started offering custom edits within our agency. If you actually go to the Social Revelation and the Lux Revelation page on Instagram, you're going to see a lot of custom edits, right? And so it's kind of cool because we've actually created a hub where you can actually tag us if you have cool content you're creating, and then we could basically take your photo. If you're a creator, we could put our own professional edit on it, right? And then and upload it. So it kind of serves two purposes. You can get cool edits. We're promoting our service, but at the same time, we're platforming other creators, right? And so it kind of builds that community.
Awesome. And earlier you were talking about like when you're searching around on the explore page, seeing what's showing up, what's not. Some things are on brand, some things are off brand, so you don't you don't like create something similar or whatever. What kind of advice do you have for somebody that is creating their brand and how to make sure that they're staying on brand and creating the right kind of image that they want? And do you have any kind of structure, any formats that you follow that can help them know like what is going to be it's going to go along with the brand and not rub up against and make them look bad?
Yeah, for sure. I think it all, when we talk about brand building in the beginning, as I'm coaching, I talk about, there's 5 phases to branding. And the very first phase is the intentionality phase, right? The reflection phase, where you have to get clear on, number one, how is it that I want to be perceived online, right? What story do I want to go out and tell? And so if you have that written down and you do your job there first, well, then you just basically ask yourself, does this content, is it in alignment or is it not in alignment with what I'm trying to go out and be perceived as, right? My end goal. So it's just really like setting that target, because we can't hit a target that's not there. So I feel like when we really, really hone in, and the better we get focused on that end goal, then we can, as we're looking at, promoting certain content, creating content, we can kind of weigh it against that standard, and it's either a yes or a no at that point. But I feel like if we're not clear, again, if you're worried about getting off brand, it's because you didn't spend enough time in the intentional phase, right? Really discovering that story that you want to go out and tell, like how you want to be perceived.
Nice. And what are those other phases, and how do you know when you're transition from one to the other?
Yeah. So for me, the first phase is the intention phase, and then we move into phase two, which is the foundational phase. So this is like after I know how I want to be perceived, like going and building out. And this is for personal branding, or it could be just branding in general for a business as well. But the foundational phase is really going and building out your platform. So it's your social media, right? Your profiles, and that's all the ones that go into that. It's your email signature, making sure that that obviously is set up in a professional way so that you can actually get leads from it, right? I close deals in my emails all the time just from sending an email reply. And then we talk about, your website design. We talk about the importance, obviously, of getting like digital PR for yourself so that it ranks on Google. And we talk about all of these different things. And then once you have the foundational phase, that's done, and it's all lined up, well, then we move into phase three. Now we move into the intention phase. So how do we get attention to the foundation we just built? And then phase four obviously is the conversion phase, where we're looking at monetizing that attention that we're getting. And then obviously phase five is the retention phase. Once we have people who have done business with us, how do we retain them? And so that's the 5 phases that you kind of go through. And I think it's pretty self-explanatory. When you sit down and you're in phase one, it's like you need to really paint that picture. You
Mhm.
can't move to the building it out until you know the picture. But once it's done, let's go build this thing. When you're done building it and you have a little bit of structure, so I at least have a social media profile if you don't have it,
Mhm.
right? Maybe I've built this thing to 10,000 followers, okay, or whatever it is. Maybe I have 15 to 30 posts there, right? I have a good bio and all these different things, and then now I want to go out and I want to get attention, right, to this brand. So
Mhm.
this is talking about, going and getting on podcasts like this to bring awareness. Because at the end, guess what? The same question, Ryan, tell the people how
Mhm.
they can find you, right? And
Yep.
then now
Mhm.
I'm getting attention to my website or my social media channels or whatever it is that I've built in phase two. Right. And so really it's going out. Same thing with TV shows. I just did a TV appearance, this past weekend. Same thing,
Nice.
telling that story, getting that attention to bring it back to the foundation. And then obviously in the conversion phase, we just talk about building out these info products, right? Kind of creating the value ladder.
Yep.
What free ebooks, PDFs do I want to give away? What coaching program do I want to give away? If I'm a fitness guy, what 6-week training program am I going to go out and put people through? And then obviously the retention phase is, just basically kind of creating that mom status marketing, right? Really building that relationship, creating, customers who are like your mom. Your mom will support you through anything. If you created
Yep.
a t-shirt
Mhm.
company tomorrow, right, and you release something, she's going to be your first sale all day. So how do we go create more moms in our business?
Nice. What would you say, is one of the biggest mistakes you see people making when they're first starting to like grow their social media presence or personal brand? What's like one of the biggest mistakes they can make, and how can they avoid it?
For sure. Number one is, again, unclarity. I see them all over the place. If I go to a page and I don't have a clear idea of who you are, what it is that you're doing, and what value you can offer me, you've already missed that potential business. And so this could be a guy who tells me he wants to be a fitness instructor and he wants to monetize, but he's posting, car shows, right, every other post. And so
Yep.
really it's just misalignment with the messaging. Right. And to be a good storyteller, you have to stay on topic. Right. And there are certain things that come, after one another in that story. It wouldn't make sense for me to, try to sell fitness clients into my business, but I'm over here posting about weight training in my supercar.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's just really staying on brand. And it all starts with clarity. And I think most people they're so quick to get this shiny spoon syndrome and see other people making money with social. And they're so quick to just like get the ball moving. But again, I mean, don't downplay the importance of really getting a clear idea of what it is that you're trying to go out and do.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you taking the time to be on the show. Gave us lots of actionable items that we can implement. If there's anything you want to leave my audience with, the floor is yours. Of course, let them know how to find you. If you have any courses you think will help them, go ahead and plug that too. It's all good.
Yeah, man, for sure. So you can find me, at my website, which is just officialryanwhite.com. Most of my social media channels, Instagram specifically, is at CEO Ryan White. And if you're interested in information products that we're constantly rolling out, to teach about how to make money online, how to do personal branding, and how to grow on social media, you can find that at ryanwhiteuniversity.com.
Awesome. Thanks again, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you.